11 minutes? Half a day para todo si mani kung binigi programan Marianas Agupa. Buenas para todo samzo. Lalu pago na dia Julio 30, 2022 después di mapanyagon ni Jesucristo. Isinya man malifait na pinonya si Monsignor Antonelli na ginin guiza zang giza. Lalu para todo samzo ni mani kung talo binigi programan Marianas Agupan Sabado ginin i oran alas 9 gigan oran alas 11. Undang kululu na saludo para todo si mani kung binigi ni Gadbo na islan sa Saipan, Papa Tinian, luta zan loki para ado siya mani luta gweno gi islan Guam, spesyal na kulo para todo samzo. Kamala data sustained ki trongkun maygo lalo pago na Sabado. Si Zeus Mose talo, pinili na, tanaw agradecimiento zan para todos siya siguiente na humuhugwi i programan Marianas Agupa Sabado. Pinili na, anonymous donor si Zeus Mose po todo yajudo, binigi programata, sin hamzulo kiti siya man kuzungit binyan Sabado, Diabetes Prevention Foundation, dongkululu na si Zeus Mose Tower Foundation, dylan.tower.com. Basta mo na dyan humuzong i-track. Inoy po na track. Binigi programata. Sustainam dyan sa pago i-time check. At 9 o'clock, mapatumagin o ginini Bravo Pharmacy and Wellness Center.
Ikumit siyang tinamot dyan hinemlo. I-Bravo Pharmacy dyan sentron maulik na hinemlo. Pronto dyan listo na servisyon amot para hinemlo. Agang watugi 233 amot 233-2668. Email is omo prescription di bravomeds@gmail.com. Mabababa ginin lunes esta Viernes. Ginin ioran alas 9 gigan, estay oran alas 6 ipupoy. Sabado, ginin ioran alas 9 gigan, estay oran alauna gitaluan talo. Agang wato 233 amo 233-2668.
Alright, kasi yaman malefed na Bravo Pharmacy and Wellness Center. Para refill yamon mo hanawat to giza Garapan, Kagman o sinoy nuevo na ramas giza Dandan. Talo, mapatumagin o ginini Bravo Pharmacy and Wellness Center. Time check at 9:03 pago na hani Sabado. Mala datapan sige mo nagwini lokwi sa Guaha lokwi dong kululu na saludo para i Garapan Public Farmers Market. Manggagigbi siya i manfresco siya na kiniset sa nilansu bisita wato. Data ajuda lokwi i lansiruta na benta siya ni man mafafata. No taf kawa siya gwi na manfresco siya na golay, adu siya iman magulik, mga man malefa, siya mamatina sa mazas, no atuli, wa siya diferentes klasin aga, wa papaza, diferentes klasin papaza, lay mas mangi gwi papazan eziling niya red lady, aga, diferentes klasin aga, gwa Manila, gwa di aga Tanduki, mga man malefa, gwa loki siya manmamis siya na sandia bisita gwato si Paula o si Leroy dan masya hawtig ni manggaygi nga man matsutsutsu na siya masenbihaw lunes esta Viernes. Alright, mga man malefa Garapan Public Farmers Market. Ngayon gwa problema ni air conditioning ikaritomo mga malefa nat yung bisita si Aimee gaya kita tinitarusu Ace Air Conditioning bizay aturidad manaligran air conditioning ikaritomo. Naging bumiyahe Papa Luta, mga malefa natin saga gi Coral Garden Rota Hotel, tsaka si Kundo o sinosirit, gagi i Rota Hotel gi Canton Pasig, Coral Garden Rota Hotel. Alright, pues i-klema para pago na Sabado. Panelos, pinapatuto dyan dyan ni Joten Markets and Department Stores. Shop Loco, Shop Joten. Malata tanoy na ste, nasa lulo.
Today's weather is brought to you by Joten Markets and Department Store. Shop local, shop Joten. Iklema pagunahani nina patutuzi hamzu ginin i Metcount Joten zan i Departamentun Tendasiha. Shop local, shop Joten.
Alright, iklema talo 83 para minay penya estay daw hababa matanya no pagunahani i manglo ginin haza gi 15 millas gi ora i tsansane para utsuda gi itsan maski 50% pusinya gitaluani mattumagi itsan zahatantan gwi haregay tinanumta pues bonito na hani humidity at 81% pagunahani talo mapatumagi ng ganin Joten Markets and Department Stores. Shop local, shop Joten. Alright, kung sinige para pago na Sabado, mala datapan sige mo nagwinigi programata no bula siya gwini para ta naay siya loki saludo pinili na guasya finaisin dan guasya zinetti taymano na para ta kumbida mo ke este siya nuevo siya na nasyon o sinoy hagas nasyon na hajujuday Japanese, Hapon, taymano na para ta pan sustini ugwa inajuda gelum iunos dan otro ikwet po siya kumpanya siya na hasesipi iturista dagwag bini Ginetti zawa na talang no suzong ana bonito zadangin ma takpangi hafa na anya si namay hafa nanawan mas proprio pues gwag bini siya Ginetti siya halom uno este na bonito na siya ma-adapta pwede manay kung ato siya manggaygi gi board gi Marianas Visitors Authority lumatan este ko proprio na maumatakpangi siya namay no kumu Fantasy Island na siya man kinimbida di magi siya tourist kasi nagi elektrisidad ni humuhuzong ideo siya taymano na siya nainaan niya no kau Flower Islands but haka na klasin naan na siya matakpangin na para una juda kinalamting ekonomiya gwini tatungo na importante no na para ugwa mas kinalamting ekonomiya kinalamting no fondo sa dangin hukup siya sa lapi na mapatugin ni federal nigi natasasangan na siyempre siya bumahumas ekonomiyata pues necesaryo ugwa ha palabra na siya makumbida man magi siya parewa ginin Hapon, ginin Australia, ginin Amerika. Sa inigi bonito na ideo para matapangi hafa na anya sangkatan na Islas Marianas. Sa bonito ay na CNMI, Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Lo hafa na Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Pues inigi na ideo kausinya umatakpangin na niya the Flower Islands Fantasy Islands. Pues inigi Fantasy Island bini mas kalan bonito no pwede puluda siya siya o dinisidi siya na maniluta man manaw responsibilidad para una paha ekonomiya mo na bini sa hafa na tasasangan siya sa importante na debi ugwa mas kinalamting especialmente para siya iman litiraw siya zangin hukup no kinalamting za tumadza no ekonomiya na posek sa kilulog weni siya iman maaposi siya litiraw siya na dunya 25% pues nigi lo padelo importante na siyempre ta sige mo na zumetik lumasa mo na siya asunto ginin pago esta ultimo estinasakan da importante go na ben na fan manyalikit kadidakit wana ben na fan lalaloy siya asunto ni man masusesidi la importante na debi talang nusuzong para comprende na manaw-tawta mismo gininihila na nota na talalang no siya kaseta na haifefektahit gunigisang katan na Islas Marianas. Pues wana be na asunto na talalang noswini wana be na tsutik wana be na fan magufit ana fan lalaluhit ana fan chalikit Lo importante este na debita lang mo siya asunto inigi nagumaygi fuetsanya Marianas Agupa. Pues inigi natatututun wini siya gi asunto lo mala. Dati sa dita pan gefe na gwini mala datanoy siya dong kululu na kulo para siya isigenti siya na sumililibra ihanin mapanagunya gwini na si Mona Fanedos. Pinili na para si Arsini Borja, gwena papa tinian. Happy birthday, kulo parago Arsini. Si Deborah Benavente Gislan Guahan, si Elaine Orilla, si Florine Huff-Snyder, Jacob Mendiola parago ni Ko Sablan Loki. Para si Leandra Sablan, happy birthday kulo Leandra. Para si Chilang Taimanel, happy birthday kulo. Para si Carmen Sablan, happy birthday kulo. Carl Hukuk, happy birthday kulo. Para si Mike Bivakwa, happy birthday kulo. Isyaman malefay da santi kita lang lokwe gweno kita kangman, happy birthday kulo. Da sempe si Jembo pinatinosyo ni Ji manmangi nakadun to lang siya ni mana jiniti segdan tanduki para hago lokwe Jackie San Nicolas giza Washington, happy birthday kulo lokwe para Hamzo. Para todos ato siya lokwe sumililibra. Special na kulo para todo Samso. When we bugini humalom na no kwekpo sa hafafatalokwi siya man mangi siya na ning kanut sa muro Benki store giza dandan. Sagi jo Fanelos bisita guatos si Tina sa gwa siya man mafafata siya Finatinas no Maniluta taw-tawta ning kanut sa muro siya man mafafatagwi. Pues Benki store dandan tuwa naman mangi do siya na cheeseburger man mafafata. Lo zangin timakto taf-taf. Siguro zo nagigon hakantea gi liros mo gi oran alas 11 kitaluani. Lunes hasta Viernes esta sempre hokug esta. Tumaza cheeseburger. Pues bisita ko ato na taf-taf o zon sagi di cheeseburger gininas. Benki store dandan. Okay, pues mala sa hunggan itempo na abundansya ta sa sangan este nagitempo na abundansya tiray-tira lay man matto siya sa lapi magi kini federal adjudo siya tafkawa siya parewa asunton stimulus zan todos adju siya man maajudo dahit tiray-tira lamunga man malefa na libis niya na zangin mattoy tempon hailas biray-bira. Kasi nigi, kung na ta susede no, titalipara, na tagasta todo si Haf Binata, gi betsata, za titahahasu mamamayla na timpon matumasis ti timpon hailas. Za nangin matto na timpon hailas man para ajo siya man stapago man tsutsupaha. Bisa siya piling niya, tsupalay. Pues ini na Fanelos no gonna bene matto benocinya pues kumu tahaday idididi nagbinahata matto na tempo na ilas guagwaha dididi pues mga man malefan no sa man mamamayla na tempo sinya mas baho ekonomiyata trabia ti kumalalamting ekonomiya gitagwi na kapasidad anay matsusuda mao gi 250 milyon tana saikikilulog ko ini anay gumasya dong kulun siya na quick po manggaygi todos hotel matutsinya gi kana 80% kinalamteng niya occupancy rate bula siya kinalamteng adjudo za inigi tasasangan za tana na tamensyona na sinya ha zangin tumadza no lay o sino legislation na paraw ni na kiluluk mo na ekonomiyata sinya ilitiraw pinili na no timan pagamento na di 25% utusakan. Kasi ni ano na aatan pwede gumaha mas gwinifi ginin adu siya iman manoy responsibilidad ko na hulo di legislatura no zangin taza legislasyon na para di na kalamting ekonomiyata pos walang pera tumaza sa lapi taza sempre no kinalamtig especialmente para i-retiraw siya dan servisyon gobernamento. Wag ni humalo Fanelos data debitatan lo este nahunggan bonito siya iman mafatu siya na adjudo ginin ifederat data sa luluda imaniduta bueno giza Amerika specialmente na man mafatu siya mao gi adjudon food stamps siya logwa humujong bini importante na debita atan na estima agang obesity bidasti un upus idipusi no ginagagaw gitataw-taw mo sigun ginin dinangkulo mo sa mas umanso tatalo mo umanso santati siya man dumangkulo man gain it weight sa obesity imas dongkulo na umupuno itawto ni no na informasyon according ginin WHO bula man mamatay ginin imagang obesity overeating za bula siya tindot man makato ginin heart disease ta huhungo kay siya na abiso ginin manilutag gi CHC CDC loki ililig niya na mas takkilo na hapupuno itawtaw heart disease za pud bula siya ning kano za inigi siya ngan maulik na judo ginin siya food stamp lo bula siya loki ning kano tafafahan ito siya bula asiganya at kumulatiria siya sa no debita haday kinanota sa inigi imas kilo na inigi pumupuno masitaw to no alright po sa importante din na talang no sa informasyon na zangin hiyud imas kakano gitano tat kumado siya man matatanon rini manggayi gi Garpan Public Farmers Market the closer you get to earth mas healthy na mo pos naging fresco siya golay ining kano fresh no vegetables fresh chicken fresh pig todo man fresco siya na ning kano no inigi mas healthy na ning kuno sigon gininesti na ini studya sa hunggan wala ben na zangin bula lang mga kinano mo no manok siyempre sinya umuo zangin bula kinano mo no baboy pos mga bula todo bula baba pos tahungog siya na bisyo sa ligi apanelos iza hululu wini guwagini loki no man masusesidi wini gihalatsa talang nusa na hunggan no man malaktos na timpo isabli sa zangin ti tatiji minalago administrasyon o sinya masabli sa estatali binigihalatsa na watsi luta loki si former director no di customs si Joe Maflas natana na masabli taw sinya mana tsikla no daw umaanok na gwa siya no rinastrea ni programa Marianas Agupa na unggan no guaha diritsun niya lo zangin laci cici guenya sinya loki hagiragi tapi itaw-taw za tanak na gumawa matulay ka kiniyaji halom gini ni Superior Court malang nusuzong nga magon fayo lawsuit watu gi federal put sinya guaha no man kontradisi line federal pues uno na importante na zangin umaanok no na Civil Service Commission siguro gini ni national malang programa Marianas Agupa Civil Service iprohimo dati siya na paron sunig nyayho na uzong sino untulay ka posisyon niya maunot siya umaanok na tanto Chief of Staff si William Castro umalong loki po digwa siya tratamento na kidebyon so gi-empleyaw siya. Sa motto tempon politika, wala ba naman huzong siya, manafan malakto siya sabli, zangin masabliaw, no za tidinansi masable mo, masaya manatsikla no sinya kumeya hausa man fayo losut. Siyempre gwa manafang pede gwini, zangin latsi magayat chichikwe niya, iparo manahuzong tawtaw gi chicho niya. Pues na gumaha no representa gwi law sigun gini informasyon gini bula loki tawtaw man nanay halong binigi programan Marianas Agupa na na no experience niya si Mr. Mafna siya bula siya mo experience siya pues saulan na ha cousin mo na si Jose Mafnas siya ha no man inajuday pumalo siya na man pareo na kinalamting sa experience niya ma-experience siya gi halong politika. Sige no na asunto gumay gi pago gi sanhilo na kuma o sinogi pison inadingan pago gi programan Marianas Agupa. Otro gwini CUC desta sige mo na tumunog presyon gasolina umuzong na dinadan siya edo siya na informasyon yung mga halom na humuzong si President Biden na sige mo na aturisa para kan mabomba di siya i-reserve oil zaman ma-transfer ya wato gi sa Asia dan wato siya gi sa Europe na para ufan makula i-crude oil sa ufan fatinas gasolina dan ado siya i high grade na lanya na para generata i-generata siya gi power plant humuzong mas bulan na supply tumunog papa i-presyo. Pues inige no bidanin niya OPEC na iti sumasaw na Amerikano zan ado siya mas man adilang taon na ekonomiya. No ani humudong yan no man mabomba siya gini Texas ito siya reserve umaanok na mas bumula supply danigi natulili mo na sige tumunog i-presyo lanya sa humananawa guato no gi presyo gasolina lokwe gi pump. Pues di CUC istagwaha kinalamting na isinya manatunog loki isi few adjustment clause para todos manapapasi rate pairs ikastuman CUC efektibo sempre no mamamayla na mes iparutunog papa FAC inige no fundamento niya zan inige no dalalag niya siya man tutunog siya presyo lanya barilis siya tumunog papa talo gi 65 pesos gi kada barilis sa siya como mas tumunog papa no siga mas pumulong sa presyo gasolina dugwa siya gi halom isengsong gi papa trungkon mangga gi picnic table wa siya inadingan siya put siya na kompanya isige mo na manufresi para maajuda Imperial Pacific IH Group sige esta humuzong na guaha plano niya esta guaha no man-aadjuti siya mo na no plano na para ufan man ajuda como investor pues gua siya galong komunidad maninistutud ba no siya nakaw no zadinansi develope umaatan kaw magahit na guys sa lapi ST Imperial Pacific ginin IH na group Korean na kompanya law gihalom renaster ni programan Marianas Agupa no debi ufan mapaisin na siya na kwetpo kausinya produce certifico na guaha mo tax clearance ini no fundamento niya paisin ka guaha tax clearance ginin revenue kau todos ibidada mo gini una papasi mo tax ka up to date todo no todo no siya mo tax no 1040 no siya na siya man ma-faisin no siya do kan ma-redact siya personal information lo para anok siya is kinalamting ekonomiya na siya maditikmina kau magahit guys sa lapiste kau kung may kwento sa senada lo importante na manay oportunidad za panajuda janging guaha sa lapi na siya na maninbekti di Imperial Pacific no za enigi ofisyon niya no pago komite o sino commissioners na panmamaysin na izi na question hard questions kau sinya produce no informasyon na unapapasi mo tax currently kau sinya manayaw nino na sinya ma-stampo na hunggan unapasi mo taxes tagi todo ni nalum mo kau guaha dokumento na gi balansya mo gi business mo No, kung guys sa lapio, nigi siya financial statement, nigi siya, debut fan mafaisin na most current financial statement. Kung siya nigi no di kadada na eksplikasyon, na isinya mali mo na especialmente gini ni commissioners, na isinya manaoy mas tempo i Bureau Pacific sa buha hagaga sa tiya papasi. Bula siya humuhuzo nga gini gaseta na bula siya tiya papasi. No kwenta i empleyado siya. Bula siya ti apapasi siya DB, bula ti apapasi siya tax, no bula ti ananay halong izonya no lisensya, ti apapasi lisensya niya. Pues, inigi siya problema niya is the Imperial Pacific. Dasigya mo na haditeni mo na, dasigya ha huganduzi, este siya manmanoy responsabilidad como commissioners. Terus debi ufan matatsong do seryoso siya kumbisasyon no? So fan mafaisin na hard question. No ma-produce siya question sa sige attorney hit winigi islata gita Marianas. Giora na las 10 pago apanielos no anmunhazan i-report ginin as Bennett Zangualo kwi Siguela Agateti siya humalong pago gi 9:45 pago gi programata. Nugi oran alas 10 para Guam bisitata si Keith Stewart with the presidente in Marianas Southern Airways para tapan adingan dididi put i nuevo na bat kun aire na Paroset Bay Islata ginin Saipan tinian Saipan Luta dan Saipan Guam. Nuevo na bat kun aire tapan adingan the Mr. Keith Stewart presidente gi oran alas 10 pago na hani. No Washington hunggan wa siya asunto para talangnos ginin i gasetan i Washington no wa siya man masoda apanielos ginin i Secret Service nagwa siya informasyon no text bidas siya i mensahe katta na manhuhuzong gi telefon wa siya man manafansuwa wa siya man masoda man ma-restricted ginin i komite na jilinya January 6 committee na isinya sige muna esta investigasyon para ufan makudmasu adto siya iman saunaw kasi niya zanin man munazan man gramadero esti siya sinya kuan man kalaboso pud esti siya ilaydut na maprotektehi si former President Trump na para utsule guan i season presidente ginin mailihi dito na presidente si President Biden. Po siyempre talili siya muna para maunot siya no. Sa esta uno makudmaso za para gramadero si no Steve Bannon esta humuzong no uno napadlino na tamensyona uno napadlino na pumadlinuzi para matsuleguan i sidan i presidente sa Joseph Biden. Kasi nigi apanielos na asunto gamala datapan sige mo nagwini no datan na holom i-report gini sa
You want cheese on your bologna?
no wala po destino all right si Ambrose Bennett talik already si Ambrose tanawlog gini kaya natapan sige mo nagwini programa tapanielos mala datan na holom Ambrose buenas.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
All
you.
right, how are you? And good morning, everybody. To all the listeners.
Okay, go ahead and start
Okay.
your this Saturday, Ambrose.
All right, thank you. I actually have 3 topics. The first is Lieutenant Governor. Next is the RICO, and the economy is the final topic. I'll start with what I call walking the talk. It is very clear to me when I was writing my previous op-ed that the Lieutenant Governor Palacios has learned and is very well versed in talking the talk, but it is even more emphatic that he does not walk his talk. Why wasn't Arnold walking his talk that he displayed with the JGO when he was watching and even signing the governors for the governor and his wife to travel illegally? Why wasn't Arnold walking his talk when he claimed the abrupt removal of Director Moffner's from his position, despite the glowing praise he gave the Secretary of Finance, is nothing short of a failed attempt to cover up a political retaliation against the director. He also said, "This is very petty. I find it appalling that as a Commonwealth, we have to stoop this low. We have to be better than this. We need to rise above the fray and give our people the freedom to choose their leaders without fear of retaliation." Well, when I read that statement, I could only say, wow, at the praising of Mr. Alec, whom Arnold obviously plans to use if elected. And I could only laugh to keep from crying for all those people who were fired on his watch as the lieutenant governor, and he didn't say nor do anything to help them. He never walked his talk. Karina McGoffner was a victim, and Arnold didn't speak up for her and help her, which is why I don't trust him. And I still don't understand why she chose to even join the AD team. But it's election season, and I believe that Arnold is just whispering in people's ears, wanting to sit down as governor so that he will say or talk any talk as long as it's to his benefit. But to my knowledge, he has never walked his talk and spoke up to stop corruption, nor this Republican retaliation practice that I believe only Tina and Leda can do for the CNMI. And this is what I mean by you must walk your talk. And he complained about Mr. Moffner's, but he only did that after being asked. If you notice, Representative Sablon issued an entire opinion letter on that issue. To date, if people will look back, they haven't seen anything regarding the issues coming from the AD team. The only thing they are seeing coming from the AD team are political events promoting their party. But nothing has ever been said about any issue. In fact, I think they are hoping to get the tourist votes if there's a runoff. Now I'll move on to the RICO issue. RICO is looming bigger than ever, as from what I can see, the new governor's chief of staff, William Castro, has already made himself the latest addition to the RICO charges that are hanging over the governor's head, that I believe because I believe the feds are still coming. I am so glad Mr. Moffner is taking his case to the federal court, where the alleged extortion and blackmail of Mr. Moffner with the illegal steering of a federal contract to sell equipment through the governor's brothers to custom definitely falls under the RICO statute. And Mr. Moffner is obviously the Fed's star witness. Mr. Castro bragged about beating every civil service case against him, which actually says something that's not so good about him. But he won't beat this, what I seems to be a clear violation of the RICO statute. This is what happens to people who join what the feds have already deemed a criminal organization led by Governor Torres. And I can only say, poor Vinny, I actually had high hopes for him. I was hoping he was going to actually become a Democrat because he does have potential. Anyway, I do hope the Torres voters are hearing this and save themselves from the embarrassment when the feds show up, and even persuade them to vote Democrat before it's too late. We, the CNMI, will be what we vote ourselves to be, as we voted ourselves into this mess, and we can vote ourselves out. It's really that simple. I will continue to write about and speak out on the truth and the consequences of voting, because if we, the people, continue to vote for the same old Republicans, especially AD, who have been around for 40 years, we are going to get the same old Republican, what I call BS, be it Ralph or Arnold. And that's what I have to say about the RICO statute. So my final statement is on our economy. As for our economy, we are still waiting to see how the Japanese bubble is going to work out. And there's nothing new in the form of creating additional new revenues, which is really on the governor. I heard you mentioning the IH group and those them possibly taking over, but we have to wait and see on that. My biggest concern is that we haven't heard a word about our 57 million that's owed to the people in this agreement, and that's what I want to hear. What is it in this agreement for the people? What guarantee do we get? But I do want to add to the fact that the governor's finance secretary is still pointing a finger at the House to generate some new revenue generating bills. Like they can just make up something when it's really the governor's fiduciary duty and responsibility to create new investments and generate new revenues, like he did on his private plane trip in China. The governor had 2 years to put things in place that would jumpstart our economy and generate new revenues, as the House can only basically raise taxes and fees. For me, he's still using this 25% to try and make the House look like they're the villains when it's really his job to be rebuilding our economy. If our economy had been prepared to open up like we should now and not just be jump started, we might be a lot better off. One of the examples is he still won't issue the RFPs for the Marianas Resort and La Fiesta that I've been calling for, that will actually bring in a few million. Every little bit helps. But I believe that the governor would rather see those places stay empty and even rot before Ambrose Bennett gets any credit for pushing these leases. There's actually no excuse for the government not to issue leases, RFPs for these two properties that have been vacant for years. And it's all because I brought it out.
All right. With respect to the opening up of the Japanese market, anything on the horizon that would make our people more confident in opening up our economy?
The Japanese market has always been our market. We abandoned them by turning our backs on them and giving Garapan pretty much to the Chinese. Those two people, they don't get along. Any sociologist would tell you that that was a bad move. That's why I wrote about it. But I believe that the Japanese will return, but we have to set the conditions for that. And one of the big problems is we have this casino that is clearly Chinese right in the middle of Garapan. I wrote about it earlier that if the new agreement, if this IH group does take over, that all of these implications of this casino being Chinese were taken down, that we probably wouldn't have a problem with the Japanese market. But we have to understand sociology, which is a science too. And one of the things our government needed was to look at the social aspect of bringing in a different race of people. We don't promote racism or anything, but we do have to deal with the true nature of the facts.
Okay. Yes. In the past, I agree that in the past, the Japanese investors, business people are really not keen in mixing up themselves in an investment with Chinese. But
No.
Today's generation, Ambrose, there's a paradigm shift. It appears based on the book written by The World is Flat by what's his name? I forgot the author's name, but the what he was writing about, the new Japanese investors, the new
Hmm.
generation, they don't
Yeah.
care about the old culture that their ancestors, their parents, they don't want to mix up their investment with Chinese. The newer Japanese now, uh, they're interested in how much money in your pocket. So it doesn't matter if you're Russian, Chinese, Korean. If you have money, then
It's
you can join. You can make an investment and participate.
uh
So that's
I
the idea
actually
nowadays.
I totally agree with you on the paradigms being shifted, but any sociologist will tell you when you're creating social change or even religious change, it only happens one person at a time. So this is not going to be a gigantic shift overnight
Mm.
that you're talking about. This is something that's going to take years to fully become mainstream or the norm. And getting to the norm is still a long ways off.
Okay.
I don't doubt that these investors don't mind doing that because they're looking at the money. But we still have the Japanese culture to look at and traditions that have not been erased within the people. And those changes are slow to come about. Uh, Look at how we've been wrestling with Article 12 forever, and we still haven't gotten there. So social changes, I'm pretty sure the younger group here are more for Article 12 being changed, but the culture hasn't changed yet. So those are the kind of things we have to look at. That's why it's so important that governments include social scientists when they make legislation that are driven by social norms or the culture. That was one of the mistakes I made with the trike business. I had to learn the hard way, so I really understand it. Uh,
Okay.
I actually had Japanese tourists to look at my three-wheel motorcycles, take pictures in front of them, and then they will walk right next door and rent a two-wheeler because they hadn't made that cultural shift to riding three-wheelers. So we really have to pay attention to the social norm. I don't doubt that investors are willing to do that because they're looking at opportunities to make money. So they have to be more liberal in their thinking. But we have to also understand that we're trying to get a culture to change. And that is a different story altogether.
Okay. Thank you, Ambrose. We're waiting for our new correspondent from Guam, uh,
Okay.
Wela Agatete. We're waiting to get her on the studio.
Right on. That's great. We got a
Virtually.
Guam input now.
Yeah, so you can
Eh,
see her here. Stand by.
Yeah,
We'll see if she gets in.
yeah. And
Meanwhile,
I would like to say something about that because I had wrote an article about the medical referral program making a permanent footprint in Guam that would actually help to bring the local people closer together. If the CNMI actually had a complex there where all of the people were there together, we would save millions of dollars over time because we are actually paying enough now to be paying a note on a hotel when we're renting 90 rooms a day. Uh, that's a hotel note for sure. And we could do it at virtually no cost because the complex could actually be the collateral for purchasing a hotel or building a hotel complex.
all right.
The only key is for our government to sit down and make the land swap that I had talked about with former Governor Gutierrez, because he was very interested in that. He thought it was a great idea for the CNMI and Guam to swap a piece of land where they would actually have a Guam liaison office here, and we could have our medical referral complex there. Uh, and it would actually bring the people closer together. But it's going to take work to do it. It's not going to come about by just wishing it. or hoping some investor will do it for us. I think that has been one of our biggest problems, is that we want investors to do it for us. And sometimes we need to do our due diligence and homework to set it up so that investors can come in and help us, and not expect them to do all the work.
Okay. Stand by. We'll stand by for her. Stand by
Okay.
there, Ambrose. Thank you. Wala apa ni los zata pan sige mo nagmini antisa dito na ulum si Guela Agatete pwede umalum gini no importante na para ta lang no sa stiuzo lokwe wag bini humalum da sinya mas ha explica gini ni isla na Guam na Guahakat lokwe humuzum manay uno na kandidato si Lieutenant Governor candidate Sabrina Salas Matanani na mapatusti na pinaisin ginin itilingyan no responsible Guam na grupo mapapaisin si Lieutenant Governor candidate Sabrina Salas Matanani no gatsong imalalago para maga-lahi Delegate Michael San Nicolas i-question ni mapaisin na kaunhuhunggiha sa pago na todos adyo siya finonya si Delegate Michael San Nicolas pudi asuntun kontradisi line federal iti magang campaign finance contribution na iti ma-report wato gi Federal Election Commission kau unhohonggiha na inosente na tiha tungo pudenaw da tiha kontradisa pat tiunhonggi ini na question humuzong pues mananangga na para answer no na question mapatuginin responsible Guam na kwekpo na ihaatan i-interes i-taw-taw Guam. Okay, kung sinigi manananggan na answer ginin as Sabrina Salas Matanani uno na kandidato Lieutenant Governor ni sumisya ni Delegate Michael San Nicolas. Pos naging humuzong iansanya talag musbini ni programata sa pwede ha istira mo gano si Guela Agatete pagunaha ani. Bunga man malefa lagi oras alas 10 manhaulong gumalong sa Piloki bisitata ginin Marianas Southern Airways si Mr. Keith Stewart para tapay sina di question inwebo na bat konairi na parosid bi iislan sa Saipan tinian luta dan watu Guam. Okay, pues mala zata na open na stream na sunido. Stand by Ambrose until we get back with Guela Agatete tala hujung este na sunido. Alright. Ala tapan sige mo na binigi programata sa gumaygi si Guela Agatete binigi programata wala tapan sige mo na gininigat mo na isla na Guam si Guela Agatete with estila tronco panelos ini Taimano Kimasoni Alontano ifininilan na tronco po kahulo i tronco na Agatete tatada mas para report di Huffman masusesi di banaw gininigan po na islan iman sa Moro, Ichiluta, si Guela Agatete, buenas Guela Agatete, kung sige mo na,
Si Masi Glenn, hey, new day. Nuevo na hani dyan, half a day. Para todos samzu ni manay kung ginini sangkatan na isla siya, Saipan, tinian dyan luta, and principalmente islang Guahan. Dyan kung todo loki iman kung gwena hujungi in terid mundo, half a day. Ifineni na mensahe ginini islang Guahan, imina 36 na legislaturang Guahan, managwaha espesyal na junta put para umadiskuti dyan debate ibio numero 325.36. Guiza este na bill put para umanafan manoy itaw-taw siya gwinigi sa Guahan 500 pesos para ufanina juda umapasi imitang kandid niya ni masesenti sen makat ilinala na tempo sa todo mga hulo ipresyon komisyanti at kilon guma dyan sirbisyo gitano siya manmalago legislatura na mausa sa lapi federal gi antes diuma patsa kapwa na lapi gininig gobernamento dahan i-administrasyon Leon Guerrero ileleng niya nagwaha 314 milyon na salapi. Lao, tisinya mausa para este na programa. I-direktor administrasyon as Ed Byrne, habibisa i-legislatura na nesesaryo jangin para unusa sa lapi federal, debe diugay gi propositura son, gipapa i-programan i-COVID-19, Jan sigun gi kwanto na sa lapi hagagana karataw-taw gisakan. Por los últimos, gwinihana simana imagahagag gobyerno as Leon Guerrero ha-aprueba jan ha-firma kumulay ibio numero 325.36 para una serbi sa lapi i-gubernamentong Guahan para este i-power rate credit program. Madibidi sempre sa lapi para ukinubri 5 meses na tempo matutuhon ginini Hulyo na mes. Sempre manai balin 500 sempre manai balin 100 pesos kredito para kada mes esta kihokog i 500 na manaimo. Isigundo na mensahe ginini Gobernong Guahan Relief Center. I-Gobernong Guahan giti man na tempo. Gi Hulyo diha 22, mababa 11 importante na opisina para u-extende mas sa juro hujong para itaw-taw siya gwinigi sa Guahan. Este na opisina mafananan i-Gulf Guam Relief Center. Gumaygi papa i-presente na administrasyon Leon Guerrero Tenorio. Gaygi este na opisina gihalom i Bank of Hawaii gimina 3 sulo na bibenda gizaha ganya. I-proposito put para uma-extendi mas ajudo para aju siya na taw-taw iti tumungo o sino ti makomprendi tay mano na tsalan para ukadzun ja usoda iya sistemento na hanisisita. Guaha siya empleyado man listo, man manasisti para umana cumplido documento na aplikasyon. Pues, mariferi i aplikante, guato gidinansi na opisina para umabalua dyan ma-aprueba i aplikasyon kada aplikante. Isigente siya na serbisyo gipapa i Gulf Guam Relief Center, Guizesti mafananan snack program, guizesti food stamp, i-welfare, guizesti sinya manayo sa lapi, zanggin dangkulo ni sisidat mo zat yun na sinya. I-Medicaid, guizesti pudi hinemlo, i-MIP program, gizaloke estileng niya Medical Indigent Program. Loke i-Child Care Development Funds, guizesti zanggin gwa hapat gan mo zaon nisisita mapulani za kwalifikaw manayaw asistimento put paro na pasi imamumulan o sino janggin malago ho mamulan so mauno gini na programa sa malago ho mamulan sinya ho maapasi ne pamfamumulan famaguon na man kwalifikaw para fansauno gi programa. I Departamenton Administrasyon, Cash Assistant Program, guisa este programan salapi. Takki komo jangging guaha finatay COVID-19, sinya guaha jurun salapi para wina jura i familia no i gastun i entero o sino mas hafa na necesidad. I Rento Assistant Program, guisa este jurun salapi para atkilon guma. I unclaimed checks, guisa este i maajura hau maligaji jangging guaha check mo za trabia ti unrisisibi. Utilities para iman takpapa swedunyihan na tauta at jurun salapi este para uinapasi imitan hanum. I homelessness maajuda maaligaji hau lugar para liheng mo. Taluha is bisibisyon i Government of Guam Relief Center para inajuda mo na kumplido aplikasyon serbisyo na unisisita gi buenamente, pues ma-referi i dokumento mo guatu gi propio na opisina para umabalua dyan a prueba i aplikasyon mo. Iminados na mensahe ginini opisina ni Homeland Security and Civil Defense. Espesyal este na mensahe ginin este na opisina sa ititago na tempo masusedi gi halom itaw-taw, masusedi na manhalom itaw-taw ginin China. Zaman ingis sa iipan magi esta Guam. Man mauday boti halom gi islang guahan. Sin half na dokumento dyan din, half na reglamento ginini autoridad ni umaatan i programan umaatan pag gumagod dia i islang guahan. Siroso este na necesidad. Zaman golf inistod ba i ofisinan i Homeland Security dyan i Civil Defense. Por este na rason, mas pago magwadya i orizang guahan put para umana siguro na Pasifiko itano. Zataza palatsa kumeki halom sen iligat na manera. Lokwe man mafafaisin itaw-taw siha. Na janggin mahungup pat mali aktibidad. Nikulan suspitoso na unutisya autoridad i Homeland Security pat i Marianas Regional Fusion Center gi telefon 671-475-0400. Polo zasia nui autoridad o dinisiri hafa para umachogwe no este na sitwasyon. Lokwe man maabibiso taw-taw-tano siha na mga mansauno man manajuda no este itiligat na aktibidad. Sempre dangkulo na penasinya unsusedi janggin magaksahaw. Iminatres na mensahe, estima aalo early voting, gwinigitsaguahan. Siguna Senyora Maria Pangilinan, Direktora ni Election Commission, ginini Oficina ng Election Commission, hana fan manunungo todos botadot guahan na esta makundudukta i primary election ginini Julio sa Agosto dia 19. Mabababa isagan botasyon ginini oran alas 10 giegan istay oran alas 6 gipupoyngi. Gaygi ilukat mambota gi Western Hotel giza Upper Tumon. Necesaryo ng tutuloy opisyat na ID card mo, tatki ko mo pasaporte, lisensyan manyugon. ID card mo ginin eskwela, pad auto klase, kontatki, matutugi ifetsan ima fanyagumo dyan kaygi ilitratumo. Agosto 17, ultimo dia para i-early voting, nisinya haw marehistra dyan mambota gi mismo tempo gi Westin Hotel. Dyan ginon nisisita mambota gi gimamo por rason minalongo agang in numeron este na telefon 671-477-9791 dyan umfan requesta na un matsuli ibalot tu guatu gigimamo kosaki un fambota. Guaha ajudanti siya listo para un ma-asisti makoni ginini karitomo estai lugar mambota después makoni hauta lutati estai karitomo. Tiunabak sa bula na ajudanti siya gisan hijong jan isan halong i Westin Hotel para manmanyet binui itaw-taw siya. Después, sempre makondukta i primary election para i-generat publiko gi Agosto 27 gi halong todo i 19 na songsong. Po todo guaha 21 na lugar votasyon. Just sempre madisigna a mano guatu na para umapega. Iseng sung derido jan zigo mas dangkulo jan sendigay tautongiha. Sempre guaha dos na sagang votasyon madisigna para kada uno gwini na songsong. Munga malefa para un exercicio ay derechomo mambota. Esta mga lalamting isa guaham pud eleksyon. Hamjuluki gwena hujung giza CNMI na siguro na man request man marehistra hamju zaman man request tanui absentee ballot jangin manggagi hamju gitago na lugar munga na infan atrasal jati infan mambota. Todo este na minsay ha uumagi ketot agag si Guela Agateti para infan ma-informa hafa na sinisesedi gwinigi islangwahan. Si Jus maasi pudi tempun mizu man ekungo za esta otro sabalu na tafan asuda talu gwini na estasyon i Marianas Agupa Chamorro Talk Show 100.3 FM Radio. Adios!
Okay, budito magagwila agatete. No, Ambrose, our new correspondent from Guam. Ambrose, anything you want to say?
Yes, thank you. And it's great. My wife is sitting here helping me translate what you're saying. And it's great that you're making this connection with the CNMI. Keep it up. We need to keep this connection with Guam, because as like I was saying about cultures, they change one person at a time. And one of the things that's happening is, as the older generation leave us, the connections with Guam are starting to become frayed, and we need to work on that. And you will help a great deal. God bless you and keep up the great work.
See you next Saturday. Thank you so much, Ambrose and Guela Gatete. We have our next guest on the show here. See Keith. Let's get him in. Keith, half a day, Keith. Thank you for participating. Welcome to Marianas Agupa Talk Show. Can you hear me?
Hi, sorry, I'm having just some trouble with audio here, but give me 1 second. I think I may have fixed it. We'll see. So, can you guys hear me?
Okay, yes, we can hear you. Okay, let me connect this in. Thank you again. We have Keith Stewart. Oops, I think we lost you. Oh my goodness. Okay, stand by. Okay, well, let's get him in again. Okay, we got him in again. All right. Okay, we lost you momentarily there, Keith.
Hi, good morning. Yes, I can hear you.
You again. We have Keith Stewart, the president of Marianas Southern Airways. And thank you for participating in today's broadcast on Marianas Agupa Talk Show. Keith, can you tell us, we are excited. The people are excited with the new airline coming in. When is the inaugural flight, and how much is this flight that we're talking about from Saipan to Tinian, Saipan to Rhoda, Saipan to Guam, and return?
Hi, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to come and be part of the show. I really appreciate it. And yeah, and thanks for letting me be able to talk a little bit about what we're doing. So kind of what the schedule is right now is we have a launch party on the 11th, the night of the 11th. And we're going to have that at Paradiso Hotel, which is the old Mango Resort. And that we've renovated. And so the whole launch begins on the 11th. It's a Thursday night. Then on Friday we have a ribbon cutting in Saipan, and we get on the first plane to Tinian, probably around 9:30, 10, somewhere in that range, and have our first inaugural flight to Tinian, where we'll have another ribbon cutting and blessing. And what that'll do is that will then launch air service to Tinian, and that's starting then on the 12th. On the 15th, which is a Monday, we have our first launch or first flight going to Rhoda at about 4 o'clock, and we'll have our blessing there in Rhoda. And since it's late in the day, we'll start service on the 16th, Tuesday, to Rhoda. And then on Friday, the 19th, we'll be having our first flight going into Guam. That will be about 4 o'clock as well. Being late in the day, it'll really be the next day that we'll be taking flights going into Guam. So we're doing a slow startup to make sure everything goes well with each of the flights, and as we start going and training everyone at each of the terminals and just making sure that we start off with assured success. What we've done is we've opened up the website this week, and we have set a schedule for one aircraft for the time being. Right now, we actually have 3 Italian-made aircraft coming in, brand new Tecnam P2012 9-seat aircraft coming in. And we already have one Cessna Caravan that we'll use as our spare that is here on Saipan. So the first planes come out of Italy. It looks like Monday, maybe Tuesday kind of time frame. So we're extremely excited, and definitely having brand new planes coming in here. 9-passenger ones, great air conditioning and cup holders, USB ports at each seat, etc. It's they're beautiful planes.
Oh, that's great, Keith. What is the safety records in terms of the new airline they're talking about here? You can see the plane on the screen, right?
I cannot see on the screen. Let me.
Okay.
I'm using my phone here. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. That's fine. But
Yeah.
this is you're saying what do you call this? The safety records.
Yeah. So what we're doing is as the local company, we've partnered with Southern Airways Express. They are the largest commuter airline in the U.S. And their safety record has been impeccable. They have incredible. I don't know, let's say exactly what that scale is, but they've only become the largest commuter airline by on-time service as well as their safety performance. And so, just even the number I do know is I think their on-time arrivals is at 99.3%, and that's for all the flights that they do throughout their company. So we're definitely excited about Southern coming in and becoming a partner. One thing I should point out is Southern owns Mukulele Airlines in Hawaii, and so that's where some of your guests or some of your listeners may know Southern, not as Southern, that name, but as Mukulele. And I believe they just purchased Mukulele here in the last few years, and so.
Okay, so thank you. That's great to hear that we're confident that with that partnership, the maintenance, of course, will be up and up. In terms of I'm not sure. I've seen some advertisement regarding airfare. Can you
Yes.
tell us exactly how much would it cost from, say, Saipan to Guam round trip?
Yes. So we have introductory fares that we have not established or finalized the duration, but it'll be months. It's not days, weeks, but it's months that we'll have these introductory fares. And those introductory fares to Guam each way are $99. Um, and I believe there's a tax in Guam that gets added, but I believe that's the only flight that has a tax. Between Saipan and Tinian, it's $39, and to between Saipan and Rota, I believe it's $69. And so 39, 69, 99 each way. Um, so we're yeah, we definitely created some good fares, competitive fares out there to really go and you know help the launch and get people traveling. So
All right, that's great. Great to hear, Keith. What inspired you to actually make this investment to the islands? This is a big investment. What actually inspire you and your partners to make this commitment and invest in the Commonwealth?
so so it goes back a couple years, and many of your listeners and you may know. We started working on creating an international airline, Marianas Pacific Airlines, and during COVID. And so our first goal was to go and work on creating the international airline. Really, the impetus of that was we were working to develop other industries here to create jobs to come, actually out of the typhoon damage and then subsequently COVID. And what we ended up finding was that without reliable and cost effective and standard traffic for to and from the island, both for passengers as well as cargo, creating industry here in the CNMI is really a non-starter. And so it first became almost as a joke, of going, yeah, well, we need to do is just start an airline. And over time, over weeks, months, we started, finding, individuals with airline experience that we didn't have there in Australia to help us work on putting together a international airline. And so during COVID and with Omicron and everything else that kept going, everything kept getting delayed with the international side. And then last December, when there was a gap in service between islands, um, we saw the opportunity and the needs for inter-island service, and so then it was in December then that we went and took a step um, into finding a solution, and it was something that the governor had indicated a need for, and so we ended up looking around and found Southern Airways as a interested partner, and just started going forward from there. And so it's initially we were trying to find like an immediate solution, um, but once the immediate solution for air travel, was solved, um, it gave us a few more months to be able to really sit back and make sure we got the right aircraft here, and we did a much more methodical process to really launch this airline.
Keith, I salute you, and a lot of people are happy of this airline coming into the Commonwealth. Is there any plan to open up stock ownership, or is that something that is reserved for specific number of people, or is it open for the public to buy stocks? Is that something in the pipeline?
I would say with the inner islands one, that has not been something that we have discussed between ourselves and Southern. We're both 50-50 owners in that, and so what we're trying to do is just make sure that we have unanimous consent going forward between the partners. I would say with the international airline, we have been looking and talking about options with crowdfunding and how do we maximize participation, and really what we're trying to do with MSA and MPA is really go and create a home-based airline here that is really focusing on providing the needs of the community, and hopefully we're able to really make some transformative changes to options that are currently available.
Mhm. Okay. So the corporation that is based here in the Commonwealth is there any local participation in the ownership, or is it just limited partners?
So it's an LLC of which the two members are Southern Airways and MP Enterprises, of which I own. So
Oh,
if you refer to, let's say, a local, I live here, but I'm not local.
okay. Well, I'm just saying because one of the things that you get the full support of the local people if there's local participation. So I'm just seeing I'm asking if there's something in the future that the MP enterprise would allow offering ownership to the local people so that they'll have a buy-in into the industry.
Yeah.
Seen it all in the past where just like the casino, it's owned by totally owned by Chinese, and there's no local participation. So the buy-in from the community is absent. So it doesn't get the local support. So I just want to make sure that you're successful in this venture, and I'm hoping that maybe in the future you have that opportunity to offer to our people. That that's your call, and that's something that
Yep. No, I appreciate it actually, and I would say there could be opportunities, because MP Enterprises is also the owner of Marianas Pacific Airlines, and so which we do are wanting to provide local participation in that. So maybe there's something that we can do under MP Enterprises where it ends up having ownership on both sides. We we've not talked about it at this point, but as I tell everyone, never say never. So we'll continue looking for where what the right decision is, and the right decision comes in many different forms and isn't necessarily what anyone particularly might think at a particular time. So everything does change as we look and figure out how we move forward in the best way. So
yeah, of course, you're providing opportunity, employment opportunity in Tinian, Rhoda here, and of course in Guam. Is there any plan to expand this aircraft to bigger seating capacity? Any plans on that?
So that's a fair question. We are really going to be waiting to see what the demand really is. As an example, Ukulele in Hawaii just started flying some Saab 30 passenger aircraft, and we've talked about the potential that there could be greater demand here, that might require larger aircraft, but until we move forward and just really see where the need and the demand really is, it's we don't know. It's still early, so we
Okay.
definitely want to be able to provide and meet the needs, and so that is a baseline. And how does it all work right now? We're starting with the 4 aircraft. We're looking at increasing that to probably 6, 7 aircraft. And then looking and trying to see if aircraft sizes need to adjust to get larger. We'll certainly look and consider and entertain that. But you know, the first thing I think we want to do is work to meet the time, you know, requirements and needs of you know, passengers, whether tourists, business people, you know, locals as they travel. And so, you know, the easiest way to get started and the best way to get started is with these 9 passengers, and then looking and morphing and developing into a larger aircraft for the time being.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Keith. Is this airline going to be homeported here in Saipan, in Guam, or?
Yeah, so we've just been approved to have a lease for building a hangar here in Saipan. So our maintenance facilities will be based here. Our hangar will be based here. So this is a CNMI airline. What we will likely do as well, though, is we may start an aircraft in Guam in the morning, you know, to bring passengers first thing over to Saipan as we bring on more aircraft. But that's more of just going and meeting the needs of passengers to from a timing demand versus going and establishing a home port or anything else anywhere else. So this will be a CNMI based airline.
CNMI flag airline. Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of fuel, I understand that, you know, fuel goes up, down, up and down. Is this something that you guys are prepared for the long haul?
Yes, of course. It's something that, you know, that's the one thing that you never know where fuel prices are going to go. What I would say is that, you know, we're absorbing the fuel increases now with our with the rates that we originally planned to move forward with. Of course, we're hoping that fuel prices will drop at some point, but yeah, I mean, it is one of the most costly parts of air travel is the consumption of fuel. So, and that's the part where, you know, just looking and seeing where our rates end up going. We're locked in for months, but you know, if fuel prices keep continuing to climb, it's going to make things more difficult to you know, to hold pricing. Albeit if fuel prices drop, then it's a different story. And so we need to kind of just look and watch where the market goes, particularly with fuel.
Okay. You know, I wish you well, Keith, and your team. And of course, like I said, we are excited. A lot of people are excited about your venture, and we wish you success. We know that one of the biggest failure in business is running out of money. So I hope that you never run out of money, because that's something that would carry the business forward. Anyway, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, last one, Steve. I mean, Keith. For those interested in, I know maybe you're already up and up with the staff, and you know. But if there's any position open, where do people go to apply for counter agent or whatever jobs that are open for our local people? Where do they go and who to contact?
Yeah, so everything that they would need is on our Facebook page.
Okay.
And so if they, you know, go onto Facebook and pull up Marianas Southern Airways, they'll be able to find in the postings there everything that they need to know for how to apply. The one thing that's been amazing is I believe we had around 600 applicants.
Okay.
You know, apply to us, and it's been an overwhelming and an amazing response by the community of interest and support in every way, and it's been absolutely incredible. And so yeah, we definitely want to you know, continue to urge anyone that is interested, from maintenance to, you know, pilots to service desks, etc. we're, I definitely would urge anyone to get on and apply. So we've already hired around 20 some people. And so we're real excited about the team that we've put together so far and where we see things going. And as you pointed out, the success of this airline is really going to be dependent on really what is it that the community wants, and we'll respond accordingly. And so it's the number one thing that we will be in training in our staff and our crews and is really looking at customer service and really looking and trying to make sure we do make the right decisions and really become that local airline that is here for the community. So
great. Let me go to Ambrose, one of our co-producer here. Ambrose, you have a question?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say kudos to Keith and his company. You are so right about everybody being excited about them, and we truly appreciate him. To his credit, as an economist, I totally understand how the demand is really going to dictate the supply of everything, especially the supply of opportunities for locals to get involved. I'm sure if the business really booms and expands, there will be opportunity for locals to get part ownership or something of that sort. And just keep it up, man. God bless you and Godspeed. I would definitely support you, your business, whenever I have the opportunity. And I encourage others to support this airlines because this is home base. And in a sense, when you say home, that means it's ours. Whether locals are running it or not, it's still ours. And we need to support it. We shouldn't look at who's the president or whatever. It's ours to take care of. One of the things I'm going to write about as an economist is stewardship of our islands. And we need to help him because he's obviously here to help us. He's a businessman. And every business person needs to make money he has to pay bills. So we need to support this and just do all we can to help him and not look at anything negative.
Thank you. All right, Keith, any last
Okay.
words before we part ways today? Thank you again for participating on the show.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. And again, I can't reiterate enough that the whole reason we set this up was to meet the needs of the community. And it's not just with MSA, but in the following months, as soon as we get this launched, we're right back working on MPA, getting the international side going. And so, we really appreciate all the support. It's been absolutely overwhelming and amazing. And I just want to thank all your listeners, everyone that's here, because it's really been fantastic. And by having that support, it allows us to be able to provide greater services and be able to do more things. And
Okay. Thank you again, Keith. And we'll keep in touch. All right, buddy. Thank you.
sounds great. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
That was Keith Stewart on Marianas Agupa, president of Marianas Southern Airways. Okay. Now we'll take a break. We'll get to our time check at 10:30. Makatumagan o ginin i Bravo Pharmacy and Wellness Center. Panawusong este.
I COVID-19 amod dyan hinemlo. I Bravo Pharmacy dyan sentron maulik na hinemlo. Pronto dyan listo na sedisyon amod para hinemlo. Agang watugi 233 amod 233-2668. Email isomo prescription di bravomeds@gmail.com. Mabababa ginin lunes esta viernes. Ginin ioran alas 9 gigan, esta oran alas 6 ipupoy. Sabado, ginin ioran alas 9 gigan, esta oran alauna gitanuan talo. Agan watu 233 amo 233-2668.
Alright, mga manmalif panilos na Bravo Pharmacy and Wellness Center. Time check at 10:31 bago na Sabado. Karon review amon mo hano wato garapan kagman o sino inwebo na ramas giza dandan nga malefa. I-claim maloki mapatugin ni Joten Market sa department store shop loko shop Joten mala tanawon niya no.
Today's weather is brought to you by Joten Markets and Department Store. Shop local, shop Joten. Iklema pagunahani nina patutuzihan zuginin i Metcount Joten zan i Departamentun Tendasihan. Shop local, shop Joten.
Alright, i-claima para pa una Sabado talo 83 para minay penya gitalo ni sta baba matonya gistegan. I banglo ginin hadza logo gi 15 millas gi ora itsansane para utsuda gi itsan maski 50% pusinya italuani atantangwi pus mapus lamo na sunset at 6:47 di para pupoyni. Okay, bago na Sabado. Kalau mapatumagin o ginin Joten Markets and Department Store shop local shop Joten. Wala tanaw panes na sunido da tababay telefon para azulok pigwa siya man malago man sauna pago na Sabado. No open si Alan si sunido siya pago na Sabado. Alright, bala that pansigi mo nagwini, wagwini managang halom. Agad tatsulis ni. Programan Marianas Agupa. Buenas. Buenas. Yes.
Yes, Joe Kamasusti.
Yes, Joe. Okay, Joe. Buenas para ako.
Walay ang puro na concern gini kita mo kami.
Okay.
Malago doon ng Atlan Steve and pinaka-body na. Este FEMA. O FEMA na.
Ha.
Kung malum sa Saudi sa natauto ni masih complete na Guma. Okay. Right now, is the line muna ni umalu tagalo. Particular. Up to my mama si Glenn.
Nangga. Go back. Saudi no Guma i tauta. Saudi kay gima i Saudi.
Una ito ta una ini
Okay, pusafan munaza ni gima Saudi kay FEMA.
na entrega tagalo that sila gima dahil sa pa ni.
Oh, jadi i gay gima mo ne sumasaga?
Guma niya. Sige na green na Glenn no bulan no transaction ni di ka company.
Us manggogo azudu iprohimu za Saudi pois ani munaza ni gima ha makila.
Kasi natagalo na ang sige type po YouTube ni. At kila sila Guma. Terus ani magtu YouTube at ginama ti gima ni.
Usi
Terus magsabi ni di boy sa kita sa ni magsabi ni Krima.
Bisa mazuda gay gima no? O sabira gi tate za hana makila tal.
Tungo ko ana makila o something wrong with the transaction ni. Ako ni tagalo na po na to sa ni.
No nigi pago no nigi tutungo no telo
Iyon niya na yung Glenn Seal regulation na yung type.
Niya.
Niya extending.
Hindi na sa oras na
Hindi na nalis.
Zangin munaza ni FEMA no matsogi pisinyan tsogwe no siya? Inigi yung sasangan, inigi alegramento? No, okay, nangga.
Alegramento na yung Glenn na
Nangga.
Masabi yung Guma sa masya.
Parang saga ha.
Pero sabi, basta yung antay po yung dinama.
Okay,
Ano mo na agad, Gima, itagalo ni matikila, Gima, ipinana na ang tinamadama. Malaking sabi.
Okay, comprende esta pago hafa is almost no concern we no tutungo mo okay, go ahead.
Kung watan na kontrol ito sa article 12 ginagaman gusto. Kung kagagay article 12 patay gusto.
Otre no talo na asunto yun sa sangan. Otre na article, otre yun sa sangan po di ma-ajuda na masazi na.
Iyon niya, reglamento na. Ako naman na, yun na tawag ni Gabi, no, tigita do yung nigima.
Okay, alright. No, malaza ta gun atan pa no sa makaluki iprohimo na no titatungo apa baru na gaygin na istaw na presente sa no zangin gima mo gima no sempre decision mo na hapapon so ugi zangin esta mo nazan ma soja ho na
Kisiga tabi na masila dyan.
o enigi tutungo kau gaygin no give regulation zangin ma soja ho
Regulation na masigit po ligat.
Okay, pues dispensa o sa tutungo no. So thank you neno na inagan mo alam chelo. Jesus mase. All right, thank you so much neno.
No, hopefully na gadi didi answer yan no.
Okay. Ulu datali tumungo apa no sa
If si pa ikaw
okay.
ganap di malago ni malago na masila. Lugay yung regulation di siya.
Okay. Esta, si Jesus masi neno. Put eno na giniti to get comprendi ko gayge no yellow regulation to tatay no ipino niya no makat panata disponi tauto na gayge ma apa po so ginagawa niya no kogwahan no provision na zangin mo na ni gimawa mo no tisinya at kilaw zo no tiutungo eno pago sa sepe ligat na gimawa mo hago sepe dumitit mina pa ponso ay piadat mo na zangin gayge regulation eno po sinigi pago tiutungo Ambrose I know that you understand what he said, no? You did understand that?
Yes, and he's right about the misuse of these homes, because one person can ruin it for everybody. We could get put on some kind of no assistance use for that kind of stuff. We shouldn't abuse FEMA and what they're done, and will be doing in the future. So we need to get on top of that, put a stop to it, and make it very well known that, first of all, they're probably violating federal laws and creating a felony. And we need to do that. I want to thank him for speaking up.
Yeah. I am sure about, the do's and the don'ts, do's and don'ts. Like, when you
Yes,
get assistance from they help you build their house after
yes,
completing, that you waive your right to rent it out or to have somebody stay in it. I'm
yes.
not sure about that,
Yeah,
So,
that's not right. And speaking of do's and don'ts, I have one very important do's and don'ts to share on the Japanese tourism bubble that I forgot to mention, because I brought it out that we need an amnesty box at the airport, like I saw in Colorado. They need to extend the exiting area out to the flagpole that would allow for the pre-screening of passengers, with a marijuana smelling dog before they get to the federal checkpoint, where once they get to the federal checkpoint, it's against the law for them to have marijuana. You can actually walk around outside the airport and in the entering area with marijuana. But once you pass that federal checkpoint, then you're violating the law. And one of the last things we need is for Japanese tourists to end up in Japan with marijuana from the CNMI. And the Japanese government could even retaliate by stopping tourism because we are allowing for the importation of marijuana. So we need to have their bags and the persons pre-screened by marijuana dogs so that they can declare it in case they just forgot they had it and throw it in an amnesty box. I actually had that in the law, but they are not doing anything about it. On a final note, the Chinese government has also stated they will not allow their citizens to come to the CNMI to gamble.
okay.
So the same thing could happen with marijuana. We should make sure that marijuana does not leave the CNMI through our airport.
Okay. Stand by. And we'll get back into the program. Okay.
Of the day, I am Ana Saipan Castro, a civil man of Chamorro and Carolina descent, and running for House of Representative Precinct 3 under the Republican Party. My mission is straightforward and inclusive. Put the people first. I will advocate for legislation that improves your standard of living, your future, and your safety. Join me on November 8th and cast your vote for Ana Saipan Castro. Vote the Republican Party since policy of avoid and thank you. My name is Ana Saipan Castro, and I approve this message.
All right. Sige muna din eh. Stop to walk. No, you cannot go back. It is a papa, right? Yeah. Okay, buenas, data Tsulesti Gininichiluta, buenas, inamno por favor, data pansige muna, buenas, konsige muna. Oh, okay, Phil. All right. Debate between governor candidate, no? Oh, okay. Didn't show mo guys. Elected. No? Yes. Está. Enggak. Enggak. Está. Esta si dos mose Phil, precinct 2, the Tanoy Kulo, si Rich, wala papa, gid sa Kangman, Rich Santos, special na kulo para ako na ginubingi ko ka. Ambrose, Phil brought up a very good issue about having a forum. Again, we discussed this earlier about inviting these 3 gubernatorial candidates on our program so we can ask them questions, hard, tough questions. What is your
Yes.
opinion about this is putting away your political affiliation there, Ambrose.
Right.
Your educated guess on how the result of this upcoming election, how would the result of the election will turn out in terms of would be majority, simple majority, or would be divided into 3, plurality? What is your honest opinion? How would this turn out? Split in 3, the gubernatorial candidates.
As far as the gubernatorial candidate, I actually believe there are only really 2 candidates, and that's Arnold and Tina. I truly believe that the governor has, just looking at what has happened, and he's still facing federal charges.
I said that would be your affiliation. Would be, because obviously you're wrong in that because they have votes. What I'm saying,
the number of votes. I think that it will be a 2-way race.
Okay, so nobody's voting for the governor? Is that what you're saying?
I think it would be minuscule.
Okay, minuscule. What would be in terms of percentage? Honestly, in your honest opinion, someone would get majority or it would be plurality?
Nobody will have a majority. There will be a runoff.
Okay.
There will be a runoff. And I believe that the loser between the two Republicans, they are going to try to unite. History has proven that. I've actually saw when Governor Bauta and Ed Toffler were running. They both, and Toffler was actually Democrat, but they both gave their votes to Torres. So we're going to see that reuniting of the party voters. So it's going to be a real challenge. It really is. From what I'm seeing, based on what I'm seeing, it's going to be a horse race between Arnold and Tina.
So the incumbent governor would get very little. Is that what you're predicting in terms of number of percentage?
Well, the people are not stupid, and they can see what the governor is up against, and he's still in court. And the last thing voters want to do is be embarrassed of voting for the wrong person under those kind of circumstances.
All right. I just want to see.
I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest about what I know about political science.
All right.
And political science is dictating that it would be a horse race between Arnold and Tina.
Okay.
And it would be a real horse race.
And we'll be covering this. Don't
Yes.
forget, our program will be covering the election on November 7 and 8. Actually,
Yes.
November 8, right? Okay. So
That's
we'll see you.
right.
Hey, Ambrose.
Okay, you take care. I'll see you next Saturday.
Tell Lillian my regards and to continue teaching you the language.
Yes,
So-
he is.
Lillian doesn't have to translate. All right. Okay. We'll see
God
you.
bless. God bless.
Okay.
Adios. All right.
Adios. Okay. Talo si Ambrose. Wala. Tata Sudeste. All right. Buenas. Iprograman Marianas Agupa. Wala. Tata Sudeste. Huwag hindi managang alam. Kung sige senyor. Okay na. Aggang sa tiungo ka. Okay. Programan Marianas Agupa. Honesty, tawtaw na managang halom. Okay, sagi pantalo managang halom, hindi ay. Okay, para adzi gawa siya tiris niya man saunaw, tababay landline 670-234-5929. Okay, 234-5929. Okay, buenas. Okay, consigue, señor. Okay, wala. Natatsuleste. Buenas, consigue. Landline. Buenas. Ya lo consigue. Siguela agad tete, siluta. Nagasaling yan, no, para sige na po may introduction. Uno sa yung right time sa pinahasangan na yung niya, eh. Enggak, gininlutan sa mufgi, sumasaga Guam, adman Guam, basta. Balik lang ha. Yes. Ula Maulay no kalan bumisilay silutan pack 6 na or pack Guam Political Action Committee for Better Guam. Gua dongkulo na no responsibility pa ako sa ti uumlat itimpo niya. Lo tuli tempo sa kanya si Peter na naging gua update tagi anoyo pa ako pud i-question na manoy wato si Sabrina mantanani na. He contributes tapi mananalo ma si Peter with contribution. All right, thanks. Okay, no ko neno. Usa tuwo si Allah la fana sunido gini pa lang no suzong. Lo just tutudesti ko gini ni Zota audience buenas. Buenas. Oh, okay. Ule. Okay, si Jus masih ni no. Gua otro paranzotti antes de bay. Okay. Si Jus masih para voices bueno kita dandan dan todos galon sengsong kita makpe. Ni si Luta bueno papay laita si Rich. May kung pago na sabalo. Este caller naman agang para ma-explica hafa na 50 plus 1 galon ni tres na candidate. Ganyan ti nahong bila ti explica si Ambrose ganyan ti nahong 50 plus 1 sempi gumawa runoff. Pago ganyan taza potinili majoria na majority. Ganyan taza sumuli majority sempi gua manggana first and second sempi tigi umanogwa tu gi runoff lo maagang zu plurality manggana gihalum itodo si man mapedi bisa manggana isi plurality no galom todos imam pairi bisa mas pairi isi gumana plurality tiatsuli 50 plus 1 lo manggana pud atsuli bisa dahulu bisa mas takilo galom bisa mas pairi galom imam pedi. Okay, itu na eksplikasyon siguro papaisin ni Ciluta. Naging gua otro mas sunatan no agang halom na klaro mas. No siya kita gano siya ta explica hafa na plurality dan majority na. No, dengan majority pues debut suli 50 plus 1. Sige manggana gi first round pagunti manggana managwa runoff sa first and second. First bisa gumana plurality, bisa gumana bisa mas bulag halom bisa mas midgood halom itiman midgood. Siya ta sagan tayo na. Buenas, Celo. Yes. Bukan debut wahano. Ugan esta sige na muna no Tilacio si Representative Corina. Mag-off niya esta introduce no siguro. No? Bakit itong Kiko si Zeus masih? Ano? Alright, está. Mm. All right. Está. Está. Si Zeus Mosin, no? All right. Gamela, datapan sige mo na bini. Pudi oras ta magtitempo ni para ta hutsum iprogramata. Okay. Zeus Mosin talo mala data pan adigo kita ini dengan pandas ta no para zotti halong asunto no. Okay, tatsuli uno last ko para pa na sabalo mala tatsuli este buenas. Okay, kung sige muna na tadika sista para tahutsuma.
Glenn,
Yes.
Glenn,
Oh, lami magay Senator Singh la like thank you naman ako no. Apa molika todo?
ulay sa way kung kano ang sa alikumento sa niyo si Fio no.
Ah, si Phil.
Ulay sendansya no nito ulay di party
Mm.
da asa po masawang pwede stasyon i-vitamin
Mhm.
dahil tanapan mag-gusto siya i-retiraw mo nabini da walay pa kay sangon si gabana kamaksunay si Diyos sila gabana may dani familian idun tuas mo magabanan ay diyan sinuri demokrat lain itu
Mhm.
si kamatsu lain kume kamatsu ada kume dene i retirement na nagpin Israelian lain nagpin so contribute 100% all para retirement
Ya, maanong na kumo tinahong no Frankas sinya man mamadesi maniluta utusakan na. Ya. Ya. Mhm. Ule. Okay, puspolo data tana posible no tas. Okay, si Zeus Mose. Alright. Talo Senator Singh ginin igadbo na islan sa Saipan o Tinian. Siluta, igagi. Para todos loki bueno papa no gigun mauli sinintenya mas si Senator Singh sinya talo mahalong gini programata. No sin mas mala datakan adingo kita gini. Na upan no kampanya sialan tinapu za tapan adingo kita gini. Paguna sa talo. Ginin todo dosam di programan Marianas Agupa y Autoridad Historia si Mariano Iglesias Siguela agateti gwenaw gi islan Guam. Paguna ogan sabalo na iha kadzun mo na istorya naman masusesidi gwenaw gi islan Guam para todo si manggay Amerika. Wela agateti ang sabalo. 9:45 itimpo niya gini. Siluta si Sidoro Cabrera, Kurigualo kay Atsakinya, Senator Singh, wasya Atsakinya sempya. Igwa man sumua siya i-trumpison gisan mena simpi manita talo. Wala tatanaw ni tempo za recover siya ginigi tempon esti siya sinatsaga. Inemlo siya dan minalongo. Ta disesya na sadik muna panmaulik sinintin niya para man mamamayla na tempo. Si Alan Castro, si Jus Marcy, si Alan para todos lo que man man manzut tigwe na huzong. Si Ambrose Bennett, si Jus Marcy lo que wahu si Glenn H. Manglo niya inagwayza, inapa maulik zampas para turudo samzo, adios. Esta otro sábado si Jus Marcy.